It's about Cinderella, and Cinderella in this story is a big bow wow. Cinderella, I am your fairy godmother, a sweet voice said. The beautiful fairy waved her magic wand, drawing Cinderella to her. Together they floated down to the garden. I am here to grant your wish. I understand you want to go to the ball. First, you need a carriage. Go get me a pumpkin. Over there, that nice big fat one. Zap! All at once, the pumpkin was transferred into a beautiful golden carriage. Goodness gracious, exclaimed Cinderella. Now you will need a debonair footman. Fetch me that charming rat in the basement. Obediently, Cinderella returned with the creature and placed it on the ground before the fairy godmother, who, with a flick of her wand, transferred the rat into a debonair footman. And now for a fine coachman to drive your coach. Over there, she said, pointing. This lizard will do perfectly. Place it upon your fair head. Really, said Cinderella, but she obeyed. Zap! The splendid green coachman seemed as amazed by the transformation as was Cinderella. Now you are ready for the ball, except for the way I'm dressed. Then the fairy godmother pointed the magic wand at Cinderella, and with a simple ta-da, turned Cinderella's frock into the most beautiful gown in the world, complete with the matching corsage and tiara. Cinderella still wore sandals, but before she could even look down, they became the most beautiful glass slippers that ever were. Now you are ready to go to the ball, Cinderella. But you must know and respect one thing. You must be home by midnight. And that's part of the story of Cinderella. And this book is Faye's Fairy Tales by William Wegman. Well, kids, I know it's pretty early in the morning, but we're going to talk about those little creatures called mice. Only this morning we're going to talk about a little friendly mouse, one like this one on my shoulder. You know, the sun was leaning across the ground when I heard a tiny twitting sound. And a mouse, who didn't seem to be a bit afraid, came close to me. He sat up and nibbled a leaf of clover and twinkled his nose and looked me over. I held out my hand to coax him near. He washed his whiskers. He washed one ear. Then suddenly he wasn't there, on the ground in the grass, but up in my hair. I carefully walked into our house and told my mother I'd caught a mouse. That's nice, dear, she said. Then she saw it was true and stared like she didn't know what to do, except to remember that one of her joys is to show an interest in what interests boys. She tried to, but couldn't. She glared at my mouse and said, "Get that creature out of this house." I did. He squeaked a small squeak to say he understood. Then he ran away. And that, my kids, is the story of the friendly mouse. Morning, kids. Saturday morning, and I tell you that every Saturday. And this morning we're going to read a book called Arthur's New Puppy. Everybody likes a little puppy. At school, Arthur told Francine and Buster about training Pal. I'm going to teach him to do all kinds of things, said Arthur. I used to have a puppy too, said Buster, but he was too much trouble. My parents sent him to a farm. My cousin had a problem puppy, said Francine. No one could train him. One day he just disappeared while she was at school. After school, Arthur hurried home. Oh no, said Arthur. What happened? I thought I'd take him for a walk, said D.W. But when he saw the leash, he went wild. You better get this cleaned up before Mom sees it. That night, Arthur gave Pal an extra training lesson. I'll help you train this beast, said D.W. Let me get my whip. No, said Arthur. Dogs respond better to love. Watch, said Arthur. He's getting smarter. Sit, said Arthur. Lie down, said Arthur. Stay, ordered Arthur. But Pal needed a lot more work. Arthur sat up a training school in the backyard. On Monday, they worked on it. Sit. On Tuesday, they worked on down. Wednesday was stay day. By Thursday, Pal was doing tricks. Arthur got up early Saturday morning to give Pal a bath. After breakfast, Arthur's family took their seats. Welcome to Arthur's Puppy Show. What you're about to see will amaze and astound you. If Pal amazes us anymore, our whole house will be destroyed, said D.W. Arthur clapped his hands. Come, he said, and Pal came. Sit, said Arthur, and Pal sat. Down, said Arthur, and down went Pal. Pal even did a trick. Good dog, said Arthur. He's a good dog, said Mother. You mean he won't have to live on a farm, asked Arthur. Of course not, said Father, not even in the garage. No one noticed Pal run behind the rose bushes. That night, Arthur gave Pal a special dinner. Time for your walk, Pal, said Arthur. I'll get your leash. But Arthur couldn't find it anywhere. It was on the hook a minute ago, said Arthur. I know I left it there. It has to be here somewhere, said Arthur. No one noticed Pal run behind the rose bushes. And of course, he had the leash. And that's the story of Arthur's new puppy. And I'll see you next Saturday. Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News for Kids.
Hi, kids. It's Saturday again. And this morning I'm going to read you Not So Rotten Ralph. Rotten Ralph hid inside the mailbox and surprised the mailman. The mail flew all over. Stop that, Ralph, said Sarah. When are you going to learn to behave? When Sarah picked up the mail, she saw an ad for Mr. Fred's Feline Finishing School. Ralph said to Sarah, this is just what you need. When they arrived at the school, Sarah said, goodbye to Ralph. I want you to do exactly as they say, she said. Rotten Ralph wanted to go home, but Mr. Fred dragged him inside. These are the golden rules and regulations he instructed. Follow them and you'll learn how to be good. Not me, Ralph thought. My rule is to be rotten. He made paper airplanes out of the golden rule. Rotten Ralph had no self-control. He wanted to touch everything. Get a grip on yourself, said Mr. Fred. I want your owner to be proud of you. Every good cat should have perfect table manners, said Mr. Fred. Rotten Ralph ate everyone's spaghetti and chewed with his open mouth. Then he burped loudly. No burping, growled Mr. Fred. And he ordered Ralph to say, please and thank you 100 times. From now on, your fur will be brushed and your teeth and nails will shine, ordered Mr. Fred. This feels horrible, Ralph cried. Repeat after me, sang Mr. Fred. He held up a gold watch on a long chain and swung it back and forth. I'm a good cat. I'm a good cat, Ralph mumbled to himself. I'm a good cat. I'm a good cat. Well, when they got home, Sarah awarded Ralph with a celebration. All of Ralph's friends had a great time, but Ralph just slept. What's wrong, Ralph? Cried Sarah. You used to be the life of the party. After the guests left the party, Sarah made funny faces at Ralph, but nothing made Ralph feel rotten. He just purred like a cat. Wake up, shouted Sarah. I want my old Ralph back. She lifted him into the chandeliers and gave him a push. Ralph swung back and forth until he remembered how good it felt to be rotten. He stuck his tongue out at Sarah. He growled a rotten growl. I'm glad my rotten Ralph is back. Me too, thought Ralph as he ripped up his diploma. This is Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News for Kids.
Well, good morning, kids. It's Saturday morning again. And today we're going to read a book called Pigs Aplenty, Pigs Galore. Late one night as I sat reading, I thought I heard the sound of feeding. Through the kitchen door I crept, barely watching where I stepped. A crash, a bang, a shout, a yell. I stepped on something, then I fell. I landed on a pile of pigs, some eating dates, some eating figs. In the cupboards, on the floor, pigs aplenty, pigs galore. Black pigs, white pigs, brown and pink, making oatmeal in the sink. Pigs in tutus, pigs in kilts, pigs on skateboards, pigs on stilts. Pigs from England, pigs from France, and pigs in just their underpants. The king of pigs, the piggy queen, the biggest pigs I've ever seen. Pigs arrive by boat, by plane, a bus pulls up, and then a train. A band strikes up, a piggy sings. Then at 10, the doorbell rings. Someone yells, a pizza's here. And all the pigs begin to cheer. Flying pizzas fill the air. One goes splat against my chair. The piggies eat their fill. I get nothing, just the bill. I've had enough. I screamed and shouted, get out, you pigs, get out. Please let us stay, the piggies cry. Don't make us go, don't say goodbye. You can stay, I tell them all, but sweep the floor and scrub the wall. I give them brooms, a pail, a mop. Now sweep and scrub till I say stop. The piggies worked, and when they're done, upstairs they staggered, one by one. They brushed their teeth, they combed their tails, then washed their snouts and cleaned their nails. The pigs and I climbed into bed. I plumped the pillows and plopped my head. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep. Before too long, I'm dreaming deep of pigs and pigs and pigs some more, of pigs aplenty, pigs galore.